Happy Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's right, we're in New York, and we are live with this week's Talking Comics with Collectors Confessions. This week we're going to look at what we look at every week, the comic books I bought for the week. Last week was July 4th. Hopefully everybody had a good July 4th and was safe and has all their fingers left. So let's look at what we got. Each week what we do is we take the comic books that we bought for the week and we go through what we purchased, and then we try to guess how much I spent on it. Usually it's way more than I should, and I'm actually running out of room right now in the collection. If you look around, you'll see lots of stuff behind me, way more stuff in front of me. So let's get into it. Let's see what we bought this week. This week we have Lego Batman with us. First up is Tom Holland's Fright Night by American Mythology. This is written by James Kahoric. Neil Vokes is doing the art. James Kahoric is actually the owner of American Mythology. We actually had him on our podcast many, many years ago. I think we should probably get him on our show. It's funny because when we had him on our podcast, he talked about how they were trying to get the rights to Hatchet, and it looks like he got the rights to Hatchet. So I'm actually a huge Fright Night fan. One of my favorite vampire movies. I actually watched it this week with my daughter. We are going to watch 100 different vampire movies this summer. We started with Fright Night. I'll let you know what we're doing going forward. Also, check out our video from yesterday. Yesterday's video, we talked about team-ups. How team-ups were once a really big thing in comic books. Now they're not as big, but with the team-up of Deadpool and Wolverine, we may see an increase in team-ups here in the comic book industry. Next up is Monsters Are My Business, Cullen Bunn's comic. I really like the wraparound cover. Looks fantastic. Look how nice that is. It's a continuation of Cullen Bunn's other comic book about monsters. It's about a bunch of guys who fight monsters. I like monster comic books too. These are my two independents for the week. Not much in the ways of independents. Now let's look at what we got. DC. DC took up the bulk of this week's stuff. We got Action Comics 1064. This is by Gail Simone. Eddie Bowers is doing the art. I'm really confused as to why this is not a crossover with the big Absolute Power going on right now. I was very surprised. I thought this would be part of the Absolute Power, but it's apparently not. So it's another new arc. The Brainiac arc just ended, and it's actually a huge part of the Absolute Power. I'm just really surprised that Superman is not the really big part of it. Next up, Batman Echoes 89. Sam Hamm is writing. Joe Quinones is doing the art. I really like that they're continuing the story of Batman 89. And this one focuses more on Harvey Dent and how he becomes Two-Face. And it's the Billy D. Williams Harvey Dent, not the what's his name? Tom, I can't think of his name right now. Put it in the comments if you remember his name. I can't think of his name for some reason. Sometimes my older brain doesn't work. This is my most anticipated one of the week. Death in the Family, Robin Lives. What this is back in the 1980s, as fans of comic books, we got to vote whether Robin would live or die. And surprise to DC, people voted for him to die. This is going to be the story if he actually lived. So this will be what would have happened if we voted the other way and Robin actually stayed alive and wasn't killed in the comic books in the 1980s. He actually came back, obviously. No one stays dead in comic books. Next up is Outsiders. I have to catch up on this series. I'm a little bit behind. This is number 9. It's a spin-off from the old Batman and Outsiders series. I believe it involves one of the Batmans, right? There you go. So it does have a Batman feel to it. I need to catch up on it. I haven't been reading it yet. Here is the first crossover at Absolute Power. Absolute Power Task Force 7. Amanda Waller is a big part of the task of the Absolute Power. She has Failsafe, which was the Batman android and the queen of Brainiac, working for her to try to basically eliminate all the heroes. So far, what she's done, if you're not reading it, is she has took over social media and made it look like the heroes were killing people. This is being written by Leah Williams. Story's good so far, competing with Bloodhunt. So there you go. Batman and Robin 11, been a good series. Looks at the relationship between father and son. Joshua Williamson is writing it. He was a great writer of The Flash a while back. This comic has been fantastic. One of the better DC comics out right now. So there you go. Next up is Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age. It is a sequel to the original Gotham by Gaslight. This one looks more at Superman in the time. Issue number 1 was good. This is issue number 2. I can't wait to read it, see what's going on. Batman looks very different, and he's labeled as a criminal. Here's my favorite cover of the month. This is Green Lantern 13. This is Jose Luis. I always forget the post. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. There's going to be variants like this throughout the DC universe. I think these are fantastic. I love the way he drew the DC characters. Here's what the other ones are going to look like. It's absolutely fantastic. He is definitely a legendary artist. Got a chance to meet him years back. It was very nice too. This is what the actual cover looks like. Definitely pick these up. If you're a fan of old comic art, definitely pick these up. Here's Primer number 1, Clashing Colors. Jennifer Moore is writing it. Thomas Karajowski is doing the art. Not really sure what this is about. It just looked interesting. Really like the art. I believe this is more for teenagers, but we'll give it a read. Sinister Sons, again, one of my favorite titles out right now. This is issue 5. Peter Tomasi is writing it. It's about Sinestro and Zod's sons, supposed sons. We don't really know yet if it is Sinestro's sons. That's my stack for DC. It's a big one, but a lot of DC this week. I usually buy more DC than Marvel, except if Marvel has a huge crossover, which they do right now. The big crossover at Marvel is Bloodhunt. Here's the first crossover this month, Avengers 16. One of my favorite villains in comic books is Baron Blood. I am a huge Invaders fan, and he was the big villain in Invaders years ago, back in the 70s. So I'm happy to see him involved in the Bloodhunt. He's, one of the original vampires in the Marvel Universe. On the same topic as the Invaders, Union Jack the Ripper, also a Bloodhunt crossover. This is issue number 3. He is actually turned into a vampire in this one. They do not use Union Jack nearly as much as they should in comic books. That's their fault, not ours. The Hulk gets the first crossover. I don't know what he's going to do. I can't see him being turned into a vampire. Philip Kennedy Johnson is writing this. I am looking forward to reading this as well. The Hulk has been really good lately with him fighting monsters, and I guess in this one he's going to fight vampires. So give it a shot if you haven't read it yet. Wolverine Bloodhunt number 3. This is another crossover. Wolverine is battling vampires. It's tough to turn Wolverine into a vampire because of his healing factor, and I think they want to use him to help the vampire. So there you go. Get Fury number 3. Been a good title. Garth Ennis is writing this, so it's been really on the freaky side, and it's taking a look at him during the Vietnam War, if I remember correctly, or the Korean War. It's been good. Yeah. And he's with, it's a Vietnam War. He's with the Punisher, Frank Castle, too, in it. This is the only number 1 issue this week. Kid Venom. Have no clue what to expect from this at all. Tagami is the artist and the writer. I'm going to reach out and see if he wants to be on the show, as we've had a bunch of creators on recently. I really don't know what to expect from this, but I'm looking forward to reading it. It looks a little bit different than normal stuff. It looks cool. I can't wait. My only Scotty Young cover this week, X-Men number 1. It's my Scotty Young variant. If there's a Scotty Young variant, I always get it. And also, if there's a variant, I also get if there is a Disney variant. I'm a huge Disney fan. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 53. This is the Disney variant. They've been doing these for, I guess, about a year now. I have a t-shirt already from the Fantastic Four one, so that was our suggestion, and they listened to it. So here is the newest one. They've been mostly on the Amazing Spider-Man. I really like them. This is What If Mickey and friends were part of the new Avengers lineup. Pretty cool. And last but not least, the Ultimates number 2. This is also something I'm backed up on. I plan on reading it throughout the next month or so. I'm going to read it from beginning to end. And I actually restarted collecting the original Ultimates too. So what do you think the price is? What did I spend this week? It's about my average. $93.80. $93.80 for all of this fun and happiness. How could you beat it? Reading this first. As soon as we finish this episode, this is the first thing I read. In order, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to probably read the Gotham by Gaslight, and then the Sinister Sons, and then all the Blood Hunts, because I'm caught up on a Kid Venom too at some point. I just want to see what that's about. Don't really know what it's about, but thanks for joining us. Even if you're not watching us live and you're watching the replay of this, join us on Thursdays at 6 o'clock. And listen, if there's a better time that works for you, I could go a little bit later. I could go at 8 o'clock if more people want to come on at 8 o'clock. But thank you for being on with us. Really appreciate it. As we say at the end of every one of our episodes, I hope everybody likes my new Scotty Young Thing hat. Love what you collect what you love. We will see you next week. Please check out our video this Saturday. It is about, what is it about? Something about comic books. We talk about comic books here. It's about something about comic books. Check it out. Our videos go live Tuesdays at 8:45 and Saturdays at 8:45, and we have shorts throughout the week. So check us out. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. We're all over the place. We're trying to take over the world.